What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel. We continue here with my 2024 college football schedule preview and projected record series. Illinois is up next, and before we preview their schedule for 2024 and give them an early projected record based on how tough their schedule is, let's take a look back at what Illinois did in 2023. Here were my projections and predictions last year for Illinois. My projection had them, of course, at 6-6, and then my prediction for them also had them at 6-6. But Illinois just came up short of that. They went 5-7 in 2023, missed out on a bowl game, and feel like this was a bit of a step back year for Illinois. I didn't really expect them to kind of make it to a bowl game, and also kind of expecting them to make it to a bowl game barely. But they came up just short of that. They went 5-7 again in 2023. Here was a schedule last season for Illinois. You look at their non-conference schedule. First of all, they played Toledo, Kansas out of the Big 12 here on the road, and then they also played Florida Atlantic, so they didn't have a tough non-conference schedule. That Kansas game did make it a little bit tougher, but they ended up losing that game on the road in a pretty close one. And then you look at the losses coming in the Big 10 Conference. Lost to Penn State, Purdue here on the road, Nebraska, Wisconsin, and then Iowa here on the road, and then Northwestern at the end of the year. So the schedule wasn't horrible last year. Didn't have to play Ohio State or Michigan at least. That was the good news there, but it still wasn't really a good season here for Illinois. Again, just coming up short of making it to a bowl game in 2023. Let's now look ahead to 2024. Here is the schedule for Illinois. And before we go game by game, let's take a look at their non-conference schedule for this upcoming season. So this is their non-conference schedule. They will play Eastern Illinois, Kansas there once again. They will play them in week number 2 once again for back-to-back years. And then this time they will play the Jayhawks here at home, so that'll be an interesting non-conference game there. And then they'll play Central Michigan here out of the MAC. So you got a couple of cupcake games here for Illinois, and then you got Kansas here. So the schedule kind of is like last year. They do get a couple of cupcake games, like I said, and then of course Kansas here. And they get all their non-conference games at home. So this is not a very tough non-conference schedule here for Illinois. So that is your non-conference schedule. Let's now go back to the schedule here for 2024 and go game by game now. They will kick things off with Eastern Illinois here on August 29th. That game will be, of course, on a Thursday. I believe it's going to be a night game, so they will play on August 29th there to kick off the season. And then there's that big non-conference game against Kansas here on September the 7th, and then they'll play Central Michigan here at home on September the 14th. So they will all play their non-conference games here in the first 3 weeks of the season, and all of them are at home, of course. And then after that, they open up Big 10 play here on the road at Nebraska here on September 21st. Then they go on the road to play Penn State here on September 28th. So they got back-to-back road games here to start out the Big 10 conference play. Again, on the road at Nebraska and on the road at Penn State. That is a very tough back-to-back road game trip. Then they get to the month of October. They get a bye week here in the first weekend in the month of October. And then they come out of the bye week. They'll play Purdue here at home on October the 12th. Then it's Michigan here at home on October the 19th. And then after that, it's on the road here at Oregon on October the 26th. Then they get to the month of November. They play Minnesota here at home on November 2nd. Then they get their second bye week here in the month of November. The second weekend, of course, of the month of November. They come out of the bye week to play a home game against Michigan State here on November 16th. Then they go back on the road to play Rutgers here on November 23rd. Then they close things out on the road at Northwestern here on November 30th. So they got back-to-back road games here in the month of November to end things out of the season with Rutgers and Northwestern. So you look at the schedule here for Illinois, it's kind of tougher than it was last year. You got back-to-back road games with Nebraska and Penn State. You also got back-to-back road games with Rutgers and Northwestern. But those are very winnable games there on the road. But you look at Oregon, that's obviously probably one of their toughest road games, maybe besides Penn State, of course. But that is obviously a very tough road game as well. So the reason why this schedule is more tougher is just because of the back-to-back road games and obviously the road games that they're playing at. So that is your 2024 schedule. Let's now get a projection here for Illinois. Again, this is not my official prediction. This is simply going to be my projection here based on how tough I think the schedule really is. And this is the scale I use here for my projections. If it's a 1% game in the red, pretty much that percentage is counted as an automatic loss there. Then 20% games in the orange are going to be games where Illinois will be double-digit underdogs underdogs by about a couple touchdowns. And then 40% games here in the yellow are going to be games where Illinois will be a heavy underdog in, also a clear underdog by about a touchdown. And then 50-50 games here in the white are games that can go either way. And then 60% games here in the purple are going to be games where Illinois will be favored by about a touchdown. And then 80% games here in the blue are going to be favored by also double digits and also favored by about a couple touchdowns. And then the 99% games here in the green are obviously your automatic wins and also your easy wins here in that percentage. So that's the percentage I'm going to start here with Illinois for this schedule. So let's get to the easy wins and also automatic wins here on this schedule for Illinois. I think you got a couple of automatic wins here for Illinois, Eastern Illinois and then Central Michigan here. 2 out of your 3 non-conference games here on August 29th and September the 14th. I think Illinois should be big favorites in both of these games. Central Michigan could be a little bit of a tough one because they do play in a really good conference out of the MAC, so they're probably not a bad group of 5 team, but I do expect Illinois to still go out there and take care of business. Eastern Illinois should be an easy win. They have no business to lose that game. It would really be a big shocker if Illinois were like to lose one of these 2 games, but I don't really see that happening. I think Illinois gets automatic wins here in both of these games. They're not guaranteed wins, but we count these as automatic wins here in my projections here for each and every single team. So those are the 2 easy wins here for Illinois. Then you look at the rest of the schedule. There's not really any other games on here where I can favor Illinois by double digits and also by about a touchdown as well. So let's skip over to the games now where they're going to be underdogs in. I don't have any automatic losses on here for Illinois, but I do have games where they're going to be double-digit underdogs by about a couple touchdowns here at 20% in the orange. I got 3 of them on here, Penn State, Michigan, and Oregon. So I got Penn State here on the road and then Oregon on the road. Those are very tough places to play there. Penn State, obviously, one of the toughest places to play in the country. And then you got Oregon here on the road, one of the newcomers coming up in the conference, of course, but that is a very tough road game there for Illinois. I just don't really know if they can win it. So those are the 2 games on the road that are very tough, and again, that's the reason why both of them, are ended up here in the orange. Now, Michigan, I was very close to putting that one as a yellow game. Right before Michigan, lost Jim Harbaugh, I did make that one like a double-digit favorite for Michigan. But when I look back on this game now, I feel like it could be a yellow game because Michigan obviously has a lot of roster turnover. So I do expect maybe an upset alert type game here some way or some other like that. So I don't really expect this one to be like a double-digit favorite for Michigan, but based off of where they were last year, we have to put that game in the orange. So again, all 3 of these games, I think Illinois will be about a couple touchdowns of underdogs and also by double digits as well. So again, all 3 of these games are games where Illinois will be double-digit underdogs. And then I got one game here in the yellow at 40% where Illinois is going to be a heavy underdog in. And then I think they are going to be a heavy underdog here on the road at Northwestern. And I know this game should probably be a 50-50 game, but Northwestern did make it to a bowl game. They were obviously a more talented team than Illinois. And obviously the Wildcats did beat Illinois last year in the last game of the regular season, so that's the reason why I'm going to favor Northwestern in this game, plus they're playing here at home. Now, I'm not saying that this is a automatic loss, and it's also not a guaranteed loss. It's definitely a game that Illinois can win. That's because that's the reason why it's in the yellow. Yellow games are pretty much games where they can clearly win, some games on the road, and then also some upset alerts as well. So I do expect Illinois to compete in that game, and that's a game that's pretty tight, but I'm going to stick with it here and put it in the yellow for right now. So that's where I think Illinois will be a clear underdog in. And then the rest of the games on here, the rest of the 6 games here in the conference are pretty much, 50-50 games that I think can go either way, except for that non-conference game against Kansas. I think that's a 50-50 game as well, even though Illinois did get beat by this Kansas team last year. But this year they're playing them at home. Nebraska, Purdue, those are pretty even matchups there. And then you got Minnesota, Michigan State, and Rutgers. Minnesota's a pretty even matchup here as well. Michigan State, first-year head coach for them. I don't know how good this team is going to be, but we'll find out once we get into the season. And then Rutgers here, that's a pretty even matchup as well. I was very close to putting that one as a yellow game here for Illinois, just because it's on the road. But Rutgers and Illinois, I think, are pretty even as teams. So, and again, Rutgers is a team that just made it to a bowl game, but we don't know how good they're going to be in their when they made it to a bowl game last year. That program is still trying to find ways to figure it out. So these are all 50-50 games here for Illinois for 2024. So what does the projected record come out to be here for Illinois for 2024 based on this schedule? It comes out to be at 5-7 here for 2024 because you count the green games as automatic wins, and then you average out these 20% games here. You average out those 3 games in the orange at 20%, then you average out that 1 yellow game there at 40%, and then you split these 50-50 games. Let's say they win 3 out of the 6 games here, because again, they have 6 total, 50-50 games, and I think they can win at least 3 out of the 6 games here, and you split those 50-50 games, and then you average it out, and that's how the projected record comes out to be 5-7. So my projection is telling me that Illinois will miss out on a bowl game, and they will come up just short, but I do expect Illinois, I think they can make it to a bowl game, but as of right now, their projection comes out to be at 5-7. So that is my projected record here for Illinois for 2024. Give me your thoughts on this Illinois team down in the comments below, and what do you think their projected record is for 2024. Thanks for watching this video, and stay tuned here for more sports content videos on my Lucas Ross Sports channel.